Well done to Leeds United. They were a little bit unfortunate, but they were the better side. And it's always going to be tough when they play such great attacking football.
Sorry, the Leeds weren't even good in this.
No, they were dreadful. Hello and welcome back to the Off the Crossbar Podcast with myself, Regan Walsh, and my co-presenter, Bradley Morris. How are you today, Brad?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. It's too early for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Even after the greatest weekend in English football calendar.
For you, that is. But obviously there's not a lot we can enjoy. As Akon would say, we're locked up and Boris won't let us go. We're locked up, we got nowhere to go. We're locked up.
I think we hear that once in an NFL and then
it's stuck in our head. Yep. So as you said, it was the FA Cup this past weekend, and there's the third round as the Premier League teams entered the competition. Not a lot of surprises were thrown up, but there's 5 games that we're going to talk about in depth, and obviously the big one upset was Crawley Town beating Leeds United 3-0 yesterday. Good win for not non-league, lower league side, Crawley.
You've done it wrong.
Done what?
You're supposed to credit Leeds first, remember?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes. Well done to Leeds United. They were a little bit unfortunate, but they were the better side. And it's always going to be tough when they play such great attacking football.
I'm sorry, the Leeds weren't even good in this.
No, they were dreadful. Absolutely dreadful from Marcelo Bielsa's side. I mean, it's not really like he played that bad of a team.
No, I think it was 3 of the usual names that weren't in it, as far as I'm aware, but Crawley just had them on the attack every time.
Yeah, it shows that they can be done by the counter-attack, and it shows that they aren't as good as everyone thinks. So the goal scorers for Crawley Town were Nicholas Tsarula, Ashley Nadesan and Jordan Tunnicliffe for Crawley Town. I
should say that the good story with that first bloke. It says that his name Tsarula.
Yes,
he was released by Tottenham in 2018 and then went to Brentford, where I think he was either recently this season or the season before he then got released. And then he played today. It was his first senior goal.
Yesterday or Sunday,
yesterday,
not today.
I don't know why I said today.
No, I don't know why he said today.
Too early.
That is an incredible story for Tsarula. And another bit of news towards the end of the game was TV personality star Mark Wright came on in stoppage time.
Okay, the luckiest bloke in the world.
Yes. Gets to play against Leeds United and knock them out. And in the daytime and goes home to Michelle Keegan in the evening. What a guy. Wouldn't we all love to be in his boots? Good result for the Red Devils, which sees them go through to the 4th round draw, which for us is taking place later on tonight, but for you it would have already happened, so we can't give any live reaction to it. Elsewhere in the FA Cup, Blackpool played West Bromwich Albion on Saturday, if I remember. Yes, because there were so many games I'm getting mixed up. It finished 2-2 in the game and went to penalty shootouts, which Blackpool won 3-2. So the goals in regulation time for Blackpool were Jerry Yates and Gary Medine, while Shemi Ajayi and Mateus Pereira goal for West Brom got them level, and then the missed penalty by Mateus Pereira in stoppage time after it was saved by Chris Maxwell saw the Tangerines through to the 4th round.
Sam Allardyce isn't going to do it with him, is he?
No. These are going to be the first club he's got relegated.
Did they fully rest players in this?
Yeah, they did and didn't at the same time.
it was very mixed, you would say.
Yeah. But there was a lot of team players that, like you would expect, Premier League players. So
it's the
changed the
argument.
keeper.
The argument when you don't win these games is the hunger,
Yeah,
and the desire, which you'd think Sam Allardyce would be good at putting into it, but it just doesn't seem to be working.
No, I mean the formation was strange. He played a 4-1-4-1, but the striker isn't really known as an out-and-out striker. Is that Mateus Pereira? And he's like not. He's like a more of a number 10. Yeah, he's a number 10 or wide player rather than out-and-out forward. I mean, it didn't help that they let Charlie Austin return to QPR earlier on in the day, so he didn't have any options to replace Pereira with. Good result for the Tangerines, who are in League One, down in 13th place, where West Brom are obviously a Premier League team, but struggling for form this season. Like you said, though, I don't know whether Big Sam can actually help them out of this rot at the minute.
It's hard to judge them with the FA Cup game and they made changes, but it says a lot about dressing room right now.
Yeah, there's no desire or hunger to win. Maybe, like you said, with our transfer episode on Friday with the signing of Robert Snodgrass, maybe he can help change that a little bit. But to rely that much on one man is too much to ask for.
It's like a hell of a lot more than a Scotsman called Snoddy.
Well, they can hopefully make way for Snoddy. Sorry, I had to get that one in. The biggest upset of the weekend saw Crawley knock out. Well,
I think I have thoughts on this. Is
can't
it the
really
biggest
say,
upset?
in terms of like league difference, yes. In terms of the outcome, no.
And then you look on paper, no, it isn't.
Yeah. So Crawley beat Derby County 2-0. The hosts had goals scored by Mike Calverley and Connor Hall. However, I don't know whether we had mentioned it, but Derby County were without their entire first team and a lot of their under-23s as well, due to testing positive for COVID-19. So they played a lot of youngsters. Well, their whole team was made up of youngsters, and they obviously didn't have any of their coaching staff on their bench either. So gotta say credit to Crawley for being able to beat what was given to them on paper. You can't really say, I mean, it is a bit of luck, but you got to take what you're given in front of you, don't you? And they took their chances and got the result.
Like, that's the biggest moment in the history of Crawley Football Club almost.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, I think this might be the furthest they've advanced into the FA Cup.
Yeah, and how much this is worth to them as well.
Yeah, I mean, not just financially, but just on a whole, as a club, it just does a lot and it lifts them up a bit. Like, it is an amazing feat for Crawley.
Can we mention the end scenes? I think we need to mention the endings. It's kind of leave that out.
Yes.
Having a beautiful rendition of Someone Like You by Adele.
Yes. It wasn't bad, but as Roy Keane would say, they've won nothing yet. They beat a bunch of under 9s, so it means nothing.
I'm absolutely disgusted.
You would think they've just won the whole trophy, not just beating a bunch of under 23s.
So if they go further in the tournament, they'll be able to buy the trophy back off of Sheikh Mansour.
Who bought it for like 500, 600 grand?
I think it was a bit more.
Was it?
Might be wrong, but it was like 800 and something.
Okay, either way, it's a ridiculous thing. So, yeah. Obviously, the big game, as we looked into it on our preview last week, was Marine taking on Premier League side Tottenham Hotspur. I told you Harry Kane and Heung-min Son wouldn't play. However, Jose Mourinho did go with a strong 11. So we had Joe Hart, Toby Alderweireld, Matt Doherty, Joe Rodon, Ben Davis, Musa Sissoko, Harvey White, Jedson Fernandez, Dele Alli, Lucas Moura, and Carlos Vinicius in the line.
When you say Carlos Vinicius, I think he turned into Carlos Mbappe in this one. The
first half.
bastard.
Yeah. So it finished 5-0 to Jose Mourinho's sides. Vinicius got a hat-trick, Lucas Moura scored, and 16-year-old Alfie Devine came off the bench in the second half and scored his first goal for the club professionally. Good result for Spurs. Straightforward.
The best stuff was happening off the pitch. Fans drinking in their houses Prosecco.
The best thing definitely happened on the pitch when Dele Alli fell over his own feet.
See, I missed that bit because I may have gone off at that at one point, but I still think if we're going on the pitch, the best player is Joe Hart nearly putting a clanger on himself.
Yeah, I mean, that just sums up Joe Hart in a nutshell.
I got collectively gasped when that thing hit the bar. I was like, oh my God. I have a chance.
But it didn't last much long. But yeah, all the off-the-field stuff and other antics regarding the whole game itself was very nice scenes. Right. And the final game we'll talk about in depth did happen on Friday night as Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool travelled down to the West Midlands to face the greatest.
They went down and faced the Villa Park nursery.
I think it's a bit harsh calling them a nursery. I don't even think they were that old.
Mate, you didn't see the game. Got moved to see babies.
I'm not surprised how young that was. Jesus. I think well, no, I'm older than the majority of them. So strange that Klopp went with such a strong forward line of Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, and Takumi Minamino, considering...
My man is so bitter about being battered 5-0 and 7-2. It's not unreal.
The thing is, though, I think I saw a funny one on the season where, not the season, I post that over the 2 games that you've played Liverpool, you still lead them on aggregate score.
I think you took my joke from me. Well, that was going to be my end line, and you've stolen it from me.
But I mean, with that starting lineup, Jurgen Klopp is not getting sympathy from anyone now about wanting 5 subs, is he?
No, the argument's gone now.
Yeah, you can't, against that young Aston Villa team, obviously nothing Villa could do about it, but he's not going to have it. Yeah, I mean, there was no need for that strong lineup at all. Why?
It was James Milner in his usual turbo mode, but times 10.
It was very strange, but credit to the Villa youngsters. They gave it their all. Youngster Louis, well, I can't say youngster because they're all young. Louis Barry, formerly of Barcelona, scored a very good goal.
One of our own. He's one of our own. I remember the
name. Good goal for the lad. Finished 4-1 on the evening to Liverpool. Sadio Mane got a brace. Mohamed Salah and Jorginho Wijnaldum with the goals for Klopp's side, which is crazy to say considering the Aston Villa starting lineup.
I need to say this because it's so weird that after that game, I don't think our whole fan base couldn't have been more prouder. All the games they've happened over the years, I think this one's going to go up there in terms of most proud they've been over a team.
Yeah, I mean, credit to others. I saw a photo after the game where some of them were heading back to digs together. So when they're in academies, yes, when the teams are in academies,
that's those who weren't driven in by their dads.
Yes. Though Jack Grealish is probably having the same issues with the first team when he's playing. But credit to Aston Villa's side there.
I feel like I need to shout out certain ones. Mungo Pruitt, Kane Kessler, Kane Hayden. Who was the other one? There was another one in there. Callum Bro, that pass to Barry was top level. And the audacity of Brad Young to come off the bench and do a pirouette in his own penalty area.
Incredible.
Jordan Shaqiri was finished in that.
Yep, like we said, credit to him. I don't know if you saw the little thing with Louis Barry afterwards. He made his debut and scored the goal. He swapped shirts with Fabinho. And then
Fabinho knew that shirt was going to be worth something in 10 years.
Yeah. And then one of the coaches told him, lad, go get your effing shirt back because it was your debut and scored. Of course. the second game or your third game, yeah, give it away for free. But once it's your debut and you score for your club, what do you do that?
It is almost courteous to swap both shirts, but in this situation, you don't want to.
No. Elsewhere in the FA Cup, Premier League side Wolves beat fellow Premier League team Crystal Palace 1-0. Everton beat Rotherham 2-1.
Just about.
Yes, just about. Burnley scraped past Milton Keynes 4-3 on penalties.
Yeah, for Chelsea. Frank Lampard saved his job for another week.
For now, Leicester put 4 past.
There's other breaking news. Timo Werner scored a goal.
Yes.
Well done, man. You did it against the Leeds side.
And Kai Havertz scored as well.
You know. See, worth the money.
Yes. Arsenal again just about scraped past Newcastle. We took them to extra time.
That game on, and I literally fell asleep.
Crazy, but Emile Smith-Rowe and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored. Man United beat Watford 1-0. Scott McTominay scored very early on in the game. Watford did grow back into the game, and were unlucky not to get something out of that. Man City put 3 past Birmingham City, and Brighton and Hove Albion scraped past Newport County on penalties.
It looked scary for a second with Birmingham.
Yes, considering they conceded all 3 goals within the opening half an hour of the game.
Fair play. They didn't get battered.
It was literally like when Man City played Chelsea the other week. They scored the goals early on and then nothing else happens. No more goals, apart from Chelsea did score extremely late on with Callum Hudson-Odoi. And obviously, Stockport West Ham has happened for you lot, but for us hasn't happened yet. And Shrewsbury versus
I think it's safe to say if Stockport win that one, then that's the biggest shock of the round. And it'd be very difficult for us to miss it.
Yes. Did it live up to your expectation then of being a classic FA Cup weekend, or?
I guess it won't go down as the classic one, but there's always one. Like, even if it's sort of not as much of a shock, but there is always one that grabs the headlines.
Yeah. Right. On to our next segment. It's Did You See That?
Oh, he missed it! I do not believe what I've just seen! Very interesting! Oh!
Something weird is going on.
Did you see that?
And for this one, I have got one myself. So over the weekend in Germany, Nuremberg played Hamburg in the second Bundesliga, so the Bundesliga second. And the goal scorer for Nuremberg was Fabian Nürnberger. Now, where in Germany do you think he was born?
If he's not born in Nuremberg or something like that, then...
He was born in Hamburg.
Born in Hamburg?
Yeah.
Nuremberger from Hamburg.
Yeah, Nuremberger scores for Nuremberg against Hamburg, and he was born in Hamburg. If that's not one of the greatest stories ever, then I don't know what is. Absolutely unreal. Did you have one yourself this week?
I have 2 of them.
Okay.
The curious thing. Now, we all know Edgar Davids is, don't we?
I would hope so. One of the greatest midfielders to play the game.
Okay. So recently he just made his debut as coach of Portuguese side Sporting Club Olhanense. I said that right. Oh, Sporting Club Olhanense.
I mean, I'll give you that pronunciation. I don't know.
So, do you want to guess what happened in his debut match? Edgar Davids.
Was the player manager like he did at Barney?
He's head coach.
So he's not playing manager anymore. He's just doing head coach. No idea.
The game ended in a 0-0 draw. But what resulted in that afterwards was a huge riot.
A riot?
A massive brawl riot. I haven't found any videos online of it.
You're right.
I will be on that. And yeah, Edgar Davids was sent off.
After the game was finished?
I believe so, yeah.
I mean, that is a crazy story right there.
Indeed, Edgar.
Yes.
Great, Edgar. And the second one, nice little story that I've just seen in the last hour. Do you know the name Katsuyoshi Miura?
The old Japanese fella.
Yeah. Right, well, basically, for his 54th birthday on the 26th of February, and it's believed that for his birthday he's been given a contract extension.
Oh, what a nice thing.
So he will still be playing.
Jesus wept. Over in the Japanese leagues. Before we move on elsewhere, I want to give a shout out to young Crew Alexandra goalkeeper Ashton Hume of the under-12 teams, who has been diagnosed with a rare type of bone cancer called osteosarcoma, and he's begun his chemotherapy this week. That was a story that came out a few days ago, so hopefully he can stay strong and pull through and make a full recovery. Right, elsewhere in the world of football, onto the European side now. Over in Italy, Juventus continued their winning ways this season after they beat Sassuolo 3-1. Goals from Cristiano Ronaldo, Aaron Ramsey and Danilo secured the 3 points for Andrea Pirlo's side. Roma and Inter Milan played out a 2-2 draw. Gianluca Mancini and Lorenzo Pellegrini scored for Roma, whilst Milan Skriniar and Achraf Hakimi scored for Inter Milan. AC Milan, that is, beat Torino 2-0 with Frank Chiesi and Rafael Leao scoring the goals. So AC Milan stay top, with Inter second, Roma third, and Juventus in fourth, having played a game less than all those sides above them. Over in Germany, in the Bundesliga, there was a shock on Friday as Borussia Mönchengladbach beat Bayern Munich 3-2. Goals from Jonas Hoffmann scoring a brace and Florian Neuhaus secured a emphatic comeback win after Robert Lewandowski and Leon Goretzka scored 2 early goals for Bayern Munich. Bayer Leverkusen and Werder Bremen played out a 1-1 draw, with Patrick Schick scoring for Leverkusen and Omo Toporek scoring for Bremen. Schalke got their first win of the season after they beat Hoffenheim 4-0. Amin Harriet scored and a Matthew Hoppe scored hat-trick. He became the first American to score a hat-trick in Germany. And Borussia Dortmund beat RB Leipzig 3-1, with Erling Haaland scoring a brace and Jadon Sancho scoring, as well as Alex Soroff scoring for Leipzig. And then over in Spain, there was some games as far as I'm aware. Valencia beat Real Valladolid 1-0. Barcelona played yesterday, if I can remember correctly, and they won 4-0 against Granada. Was that their last game?
I can't remember.
It's so confusing.
What was Real Madrid scoring? That's the one I want to get to.
They drew 0-0 with Osasuna.
That's because I'd seen a funny post on the weekend. It was because Real Madrid, they're able to beat the Barcelonas, the Atleticos, all those teams at the top, but they can't beat these teams at the bottom.
Very strange.
So the post was that Real Madrid are the Robin Hood of La Liga.
Take from the rich and give to the poor. And Atletico Madrid this weekend, I don't think they've actually played. No, because their game against Bilbao was postponed due to the heavy snowstorm that's happened in Spain over this past weekend, which was horrendous to say the least. Well, you're not in there, Spain.
No. It's like all the snow they've been waiting for 5 years just came at once.
Yep. Over in France, PSG got their first win under manager Mauricio Pochettino as they beat Brest 3-0. Paulo Sarabia, Mauro Icardi and Moise Kean with the goals. Lyon could only manage a 2-2 draw with Rennes. And Lille beat Nîmes 1-0. Right.
So with PSG, is the way they're saying is Pocha Le Wheel.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Is that just how they would say it in there? Poch is at Le Wheel.
Maybe.
I've always defended French people.
Yeah, more than likely, but it's the French, so who cares?
So you've just done it even worse.
And in the women's football, there wasn't a lot of games. There's only one.
Say that again.
Chelsea beat Reading 5-0. Frank Kirby scoring 4 goals, including a perfect hat-trick, and Ji So-yun scoring late on. The reason only one game, as we said, or I might have said previously, Aston Villa, Arsenal, West Ham, Man City was postponed due to COVID cases. Then Everton, Man United was also postponed to COVID cases in the Everton squad and injuries. Bristol City versus Brighton was because Brighton, I think, pulled up a late COVID test on Saturday, and Tottenham versus Birmingham City was postponed due to Birmingham City not having enough fit players to play the game. That is all the women's football talk, because not a lot has happened. As games in Spain got cancelled due to the weather, and elsewhere in Europe they haven't came back off their winter break yet. So that is all the women's football talk for you.
Unreal.
Yeah.
And the predictions league then.
Yes, I nearly forgot our predictions league. So it was a good week for all pair of us. I'd say mainly you. So over the weekend we had our predictions were Boreham Wood versus Millwall. We both got wrong because we predicted a Boreham Wood win, but Millwall won. QPR Fulham was next. I got 2 points for predicting a Fulham win, though you've said Fulham would win on penalties, but they won in extra time, so you don't get any.
I've happily conceded that I don't deserve anything for that.
Mm-hmm. Man City versus Birmingham City. You got 3 points for getting the correct score. I got 2 for Man City winning. But
you said 4-0, didn't you?
Yeah.
You were a VAR call away from the perfect score.
Typical VAR, always ruining the fun. Stoke versus Leicester. We both get 2 points for predicting the Leicester win, but we went. So our combined score was the correct score because it was 4-0 in the end, was it? To Leicester. Yeah, we both said 2-0. And shout out to James Justin of Leicester, who scored an absolute worldie of a goal. So I sort of tell it all. Yes, exactly. So he'll always be loved by the Luton fans. Cheltenham versus Mansfield, we were both wrong. And Crawley versus Leeds. I was wrong with the outcome, but so were you, but you get the points for predicting the correct
needs
score.
To be said that I'm serious. I'm not predicting Leeds United to win a game ever again.
The thing is, though, the next time we have Leeds, and I predict them to win, and you predict them to lose, and Leeds can actually go and win, you're going to feel it. So
it's weird lot.
So that leaves you on 34 points and me on 55. Before we head into the weekend's games, which we'll obviously preview later on this week. There is some midweek games which are deemed as catch-up games in the Premier League.
There we predict that they'll be called off by the time we do it.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not going to predict them, but Aston Villa are meant to be playing Tottenham on Wednesday. However, according to The Athletic, that game is now going to be rescheduled for a later date due to the amount of positive cases in the Aston Villa team, and it's set to be swapped with Fulham versus Tottenham, which was meant to initially be played, I think, on Thursday or Friday. No, Fulham were meant to play on Friday this week against Chelsea, but that's obviously going to be rescheduled for a later date.
It was completely hypocrisy if we were asked to play this game.
Yeah, because it would literally be the exact same 11 that played on Friday against a full, this is their type of game. You would expect
Newcastle weren't asked to do this.
Exactly.
Man City weren't asked to do this. Fulham weren't asked to do it.
Yeah, so I don't expect that game to go ahead. What else has happened in the world of football? The Scottish FA Board have confirmed that there is a 3-week suspension on professional football beneath the SPFL Championship. So that's League 1, 2 and below have all been suspended for 3 weeks whilst they try and get on top of the COVID cases in Scotland. That has recently been announced.
No Arbroath versus Stranraer then this week?
No. Right, I don't think I've missed anything else out in the world of football. If I have, we'll talk about it on Thursday, or anything big happens
this week in a way.
Yes, because it was only FA Cup action.
We'll be limited in a few weeks when there's no football at all.
Gosh, we'll just talk about. We'll just have a whole episode dedicated to. Do you remember that game, or name the missing players from the starting 11, or whatever you decided to call it? I can't remember.
Who's to say we couldn't just branch off and go into the Super Bowl? Because it's going to be by that time that.
Oh yeah, we'll just change our sports for a week or two. Yeah, so I don't think I've missed anything. If I have, sorry. We'll catch you up on it later on in the week.
Definitely breaking news in the last 5 minutes.
No, the last breaking news was that Scottish one. That's why I've literally just said it. Yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe wherever you are listening to us. And enjoy the rest of your week. We'll be back tomorrow to have a look at all the transfer and stuff from around the world. And we'll be back on Thursday as well to preview this weekend's fixtures in the Premier League.
Try and preview it.
Oh yeah, and hopefully I'll be able to preview the WSL in more depth, and they actually have meaning this time rather than previewing it and there only being one game. Yes. Right, in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your time. Stay safe wherever you're listening to us. And it's goodbye from me, and goodbye from my co-presenter, Brad.
Stay safe. Control the virus.
Stay home, and we'll see you soon.